Night one was a mess. I agree with everyone online who pretty much just shares the same opinion that the matches were too short and the main event was confusing. My biggest problems with night one of WrestleMania 42 were the first and last matches. So you have Division and I Show Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight, and it was a decent match. It was fun to watch, but it was too short, and I think Division and Speed should have won. So I don't like the way the match ended and what happened afterward. But the match itself was fun to watch, but it's just I think it had the wrong winners, and yeah. And then the other matches, were okay. The other four, wait, there were 7 matches in total. So that first match, I was pissed about, and then Drew versus Jacob was good. That match, there could have been a little more to that match, but it was still good. Seth versus Gunther, that was a good match. I liked it. The women's matches, the fatal 4-way tag match was good, but too short. AJ Lee versus Becky I thought that was a decent match. Liv versus Stephanie, that was a good match, and of course, Liv's entrance was fun as hell to watch, and I'm probably forgetting. I think I'm forgetting a match, but you had the first match, then Drew McIntyre, Gunther, Seth, women's tag team match, AJ and Becky, Liv and stuff. Okay, so I'm not forgetting any. So first match, and then all the other matches between that and the main event were decent, but some of them were shorter than I feel they should have been, but they were good. And then what was it? The main event, Randy versus Cody. I'm still confused. I'm still really confused by Randy Orton RKOing Pat McAfee. Like, it made no sense to me at all why that even happened. I get it, people don't like Pat McAfee being inserted into all of this, but it made no sense for him to be RKO'd. He got taken out at the beginning of the match, and then he comes back out in the damn referee outfit. And he gets in, and he kind of did what was like a normal count instead of a fast count, and people are saying that's probably why Randy decided to RKO him, but doesn't really make sense because Randy's getting back up, and he has Pat right there in the ring with him, so Pat can still help him try to win the match, but he just RKOs him out of nowhere. And yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me for that to happen. It, like, story-wise, it just made no sense. And then Cody won the match. I think Randy should have won the match and became champion again. I don't understand what they're doing here. Yeah. I don't know where they're going to go with this. Because people were saying, are they still going to plan a tag team match between Randy and Pat versus Cody and Jelly Roll? Or are they going to continue it with just Randy versus Cody Rhodes without Pat involved anymore? Is Pat going to be involved at all anymore since Randy lost the match? And I think Pat said he wasn't going to be a part of wrestling or anything. I was watching a match last night, and I was watching a YouTube video last night, and some guy said, oh, Pat McAfee's probably going to come out and say, yeah, I'm no longer going to be involved in professional wrestling, but I didn't say anything about sports entertainment, and he'll just continue on in WWE. Who knows what's going to happen, but overall, the show yesterday, WrestleMania 42 Night 1, was a bit of a letdown, I'd say. Wait, did I say Night 1 or Night 2? It was Night 1, and it was a letdown. Not the worst show ever, but I mean, this is WrestleMania. It's supposed to be the biggest show of the year. You know, you spend months building up to this, and you have all this media, you have all these interviews going on everywhere, and you're supposed to be, building up these storylines, and this is when you should be spoiling your fan base. You should be putting together the best show possible for us when it comes to WrestleMania. And I just feel like that's not what happened with Night 1, at least. You have 7 matches on the card, and most of the matches were clearly too short. You have too many ads going, and it's like a match ends, and you have I think like a 3-minute commercial break, where I was just seeing ads, but I guess people internationally watching on Netflix, I heard they were being shown like parts of the Hulk Hogan documentary, like 3-minute, 5-minute sections of it, parts of it. And, that's fine to advertise it, but I feel like you should maybe show 1 or 2 ads of the documentary throughout the show. And if people want to watch it when it comes out, they can watch it. You don't need to be showing them like parts of the documentary between matches. You know what should be shown between the matches of WrestleMania? You should be having backstage segments. You should be showing video packages. You should be having interviews. Someone in the backstage interviewing wrestlers about the match that they just had, or a match they have coming up later in the night. You should have an overall show going on, but you do one short match after the other, and between those matches, it's just a bunch of ads. That's absolutely ridiculous, considering all the money that your fans are putting into your product. I pay for ESPN. I think I'm paying over $30 a month. I'm paying for Peacock. I'm paying for Netflix. I'm going to cancel Peacock at some point. But, I put money into this. A lot of people are paying money just to watch at home on TV. And you have people paying a ton of money for tickets to go to the events. You have a lot of people paying money for this stuff, to watch this stuff. And you have WWE. It just seems like they're not putting much effort at all into their biggest show of the year, and it's I don't understand it, yeah. I'm hoping Night 2 will be better, but it's, it has less matches. It has 6 matches instead of 7 like Night 1. And personally, I really don't like how early in the day the event was. Here, I live in Phoenix, and, WrestleMania started at 3 p.m. And I think it ended sometime between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. The sun was still out when the show ended here, and you could see on the TV when people were exiting the stadium, the sun was still up. It was too early in the day. I don't understand why they did the event so early in the day. And the event just wasn't long enough either. The matches should have been long. Matches should have been longer. There should have been more going on with the show. Why did John Cena come out only twice? You saw him 2 times throughout the night. You didn't see him doing any backstage segments or interviews or anything. The main event of the night was confusing. Why couldn't they do better with that, is what I'm asking. It's like, come on, guys. It's WrestleMania, and you guys screwed up Night 1. And I'm just worried about Night 2 now, because it worries me, seeing the lack of effort that went into night one. I'm thinking, well, what's going to happen with night two? I'm excited for the matches, but is it just going to be, all right, let's get through this match. Oh, a bunch of ads. All right, let's get through this match. All right, a bunch of ads. Okay, this match is going to be a little bit longer. And then a bunch of ads. And then another short match. And then the main event is going to be probably like a half hour to 45 minutes long. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm hoping for good matches tonight for a night two, and I just hope that I feel more satisfied at the end of it, because I was not satisfied with night one at all. There were some good moments. It was fun. Some of it was fun to watch, but it was not at the level it should have been for a WrestleMania show. So, if I'm rating night one out of 10, I got to give it a 6 out of 10, because again, it's WrestleMania, but this wasn't at the level it should have been for WrestleMania.